Have you ever done a deep stretching session? You seem like a flexible guy. I'm pretty sure you stretch.
I think I'm a big mobility freak, and I've done some, tweet storms and things like that about mobility because everybody's always talking about strength and weightlifting and muscle and stuff, and that's important. I think people really misunderstand how important mobility is. This is another, I can geek out on this stuff endlessly. So, there's something called fascia, which is, when you have like a piece of meat, there's that like silver skin on top of the meat.
Right.
That's basically your fascia. So everything in your body is covered in this fascia. Okay, your muscles are covered in it, your organs are covered in it, and part of the reason why is because it helps keep everything separate. Okay, and so. This is something that we've kind of understood more recently. So, all the bodybuilding thinking from 40 years ago hasn't quite caught up to it. But if you notice how some people, they get old and they get like this,
Right.
or they can't lift their arm up anymore. As you age, your fascia starts sticking to each other. Okay? It's literally growing into itself. And once it's done growing into itself, you can't separate it. Okay. And I mean, part of the reason people are hunched over too is because their bone health, right? They're not keeping they're not. One of the things you'll see me do all the time is you take your hands and you put them on your chest like this. Okay. Your elbows down, hands like this. And this is just a way to put yourself back into a healthy posture.
Oh, wow.
It's just a simple trick.
Like a deeper stretch for your shoulders, your
This
upper
is
back.
how you always want to be, but we sit here and we start doing this. And so
Right.
I'll see myself, I'll do this just to kind of go back to that point of what is like a healthy posture, right? Because your bones are not rocks. They're more like clay, okay? You have to shape them or gravity will shape them for you,
Yeah.
okay? So you have all this fascia. If you don't keep it moving, it's going to slowly start sticking together. Right? If you can only lift your arm up this high right now, in a year, it'll be this. And in a few more years, it'll be this, right? So you have to be constantly pushing yourself to the edge of your mobility or you're going to lose it. There's a saying, move it or lose it, right? So mobility is hugely important. It's probably tough to do here, but another thing I always have somebody do is see if you can just do a squat, right, with your butt all the way down and your back straight. And most people can't do it. And it's like, bro, that's not a good sign. You're, 28 years old and you'd already lost that mobility and you're just going to keep losing it. You want to be, 90 years old and able to bend down and pick something up and lift your arm up and things like that. Mobility is a lot bigger than people think. And strangely enough, too much weightlifting, too much bodybuilding actually creates inflammation. That inflammation starts pushing the fascia to start sticking together. And so that's why you'll see a lot of these like bodybuilder guys, they can't straighten their arm. It's because their fascia is basically stuck at that point. So you got to keep moving. Yeah, you got to move.
It's something every weight training oriented dude learns the hard way.
Yeah.
And often it's very late.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to get an injury earlier. I have a friend, his name's Tiger Shroff. He is probably the most athletic human I have ever seen in my life. He's a Bollywood star and we played football with him.
Okay.
He plays well enough to have gone pro when he was younger.
Right.
In my first match with him, I tore my ACL on my knee.
Oh my God.
And I was very deflated about it because it's a very psychologically traumatic
Yeah,
injury.
and that's a tough injury. Yeah.
You can't play football for a while after
Yeah.
that. And I called him up just to vent. And he said that, hey man, I've got bad injuries as well. Just know that these injuries are always an opportunity to modify your body a little bit. Try understanding why the injury happened. It's probably also because your leg is not strong enough and flexible enough.
That's right. There's an old saying, which is one disease, long life, no disease, short life. Because you always have some sort of issue. And if you become aware of it, you can do something about it and you can overcome it. But if you live as though you have no problems, or if you don't have the knowledge of the problem, you can't solve it.
Yeah.
So in a way, like I said, when I first got sick in college, that sort of started me on this journey of like, I have to figure out my health problems on my own. And, the first health problem I had was so major, Like not even being able to eat a piece of bread without going and getting sick is kind of insane. Having to sleep sitting up is kind of insane, right?
It's very common today. These kind of gut issues.
Yeah, gut issues are a big issue now. And so I'm like, oh, if I could fix that issue, then I can probably fix most of the other things. So instead of just going to a doctor and doing what they say, take it into your own hands and solve the problem. You know, we have the internet, we have technology, you can do it, but you have to do it yourself.
So coming back to what we were talking about in terms of mobility and stretching, have you ever had a yoga session?
Oh yeah, I do private yoga classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that helps with your mobility,
Absolutely.
core strength.
Yeah,
all that.
I mean, I can geek out on yoga for a while. I actually think yoga is a lot more than mobility. One of the things that I think people don't realize is yoga is a form of internal massage, right? It's not easy to massage your organs, right? You can massage my arm, but how do I massage my spleen? So I think a lot of the movements in yoga are actually about sort of compressing and decompressing the organs, stretching the organs. It's essentially a form of internal massage that helps those organs stay healthy.
Yeah. For me, the reason I stuck to my yoga practice, and I started it just like a couple of years ago, the reason I stuck was because if I was ever in a phase of overthinking or bad mental health, a deep stretching session would calm me down a bit. It didn't fix my mental health completely, but it would calm me down a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be able to sleep better that night. I'd be able to think with more clarity. On a short-term basis, that's what happened. On a medium-term basis, I saw my skin improving a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm an on-camera person. I need to care about how my skin and hair look.
Yeah.
And in the long term, it's what you said.
Yeah.
It's about staying younger. It's about having a more flexible body. And I think over time, you can look at someone and tell if they do their stretching or not.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a calmness on their face. Like that's what radiates out of your face as well.
Yeah.
Like you're clearly someone who cares about holistic fitness rather than just big muscles, which you have as well.
Thanks. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. So yoga has a lot of fascia impact, like mobility. I think it has this organ health ability, and then it's neurological, right? So I think a lot of what you're talking about is some of the neurological impacts of doing yoga.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip from The Ranveer Show, we've uploaded a ton of other clips related to a ton of other topics. So explore the channel because there's something for everyone.